Geometry 8-4, extra practice worksheet, problem number 16. Here we have our question mark. That's the angle that we're going to try to find. From this angle on the opposite side of the triangle is this number 9. So that means this is going to be called the opposite side. This 29 is adjacent to this, but because it's also opposite the right angle, this one's going to be called the hypotenuse, not the adjacent. Even though it is adjacent to it, it takes the hypotenuse. That takes precedence over the adjacent title, right? This side would have been the adjacent. If there was anything here, that's what I would have used. But since I have the opposite and the hypotenuse, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the sine, right? The only trig function that uses the opposite and the hypotenuse is the sine function. So we've got the sine equals the opposite over the hypotenuse, okay? Now, to solve this thing, I could do 9 divided by 29, get a decimal, but I'm just going to let my calculator do all the work for me right now. To find out what this x is, that would equal 9 over 29, I'm going to do the inverse sine. So it's going to look like this on your calculator. And instead of getting this decimal, I'm just going to leave it like that right in the problem. Let the calculator do all the work in one step. Inverse sine of 9 divided by 29 will give us our answer. Pull up my calculator. And to get inverse sine, I do second and then sine. And I'm going to do 9 divided by 29, close the parenthesis, equals. And I got 18 point, let me see what this is. It's too small. 18.08. Okay, so that means since I'm rounding to the nearest whole decimal, I would put 18 degrees. But since you're used to rounding to the nearest tenth, that 8 would tell me that that 0 needs to be a 1, so I'd put 18.1 degrees. So if I was rounding to the nearest whole degree, it would be this. But nearest tenth would be this, okay? I would accept either answer because this is what we're used to doing. That's what we're used to doing. If you read the directions in this problem, it actually says to do this. But since you're used to doing to the nearest tenth, I would accept this as well. Either one on this particular worksheet. If you have any questions, let me know.